Hello, everyone. My name is Cyprian Bowlding, and I'd like to thank you for joining me for this special podcast interview. And with me is an NFL legend and a world champion, Mr. Earnest Byner. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Cyprian. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
It's
doing
good to
fine.
see you, man.
Good to see you, too.
You've matured into a really good-looking man. Back in the day, man.
Back in the day. Might as well start with back in the day. 1990,
Yeah.
a young sixth grade student was able to join his father for Washington Redskins New Orleans Saints game. Get opportunity
Amazing.
to get a phone number to a certain starter on the Redskins team, which is yourself.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, we go to the game. We follow your wife down to the locker room. We're thinking, this is the closest we're going to be. Let's be happy where we are.
Right.
This is all good. And next thing you know, you come out the locker room and say, Bowlding. Father's like, right here. We go right into the locker room. Go into the locker room. I get to see the media in action. I get to see from Sonny Jurgensen and Sam Huff, Frank Herzog, the radio team of the Washington Redskins. I see just a mob of media all around Gary Clark as he's asking questions, and my interest grows there. And the next thing you know, towards the end of it, take a Polaroid picture of yourself, Coach Gibbs, and my father. Try to press the flash button on the Polaroid, nothing comes out. There's no digital cameras right back there, right?
Right.
So
Ancient days.
Ancient days indeed. So next thing you know, nothing comes out of Polaroid. Coach Gibbs yells out, I need a camera. TV crew comes, hands me a microphone, says, here you go. I interview a question because that was the first 100-yard game the Redskins had that season that you ran 116 yards. I still remember.
Yeah.
I asked you that question. I asked Joe Gibbs about a touchdown pass to Kelvin Bryant because I called it in the stands. I was like, it's going to be a touchdown pass to Kelvin Bryant. This is the next play. And it happened. And then I interviewed my father about his joy of being a Redskin fan. And I closed it by looking at that camera and saying, this is Cyprian Bowlding from the Redskins locker room. 2 days later on Channel 7 got aired. And ever since then, because of your connection, father being a Redskin fan, Coach Gibbs with his power of the media,
Right.
all of that started to the career I'm in today in television production and in multimedia. So we start off by thanking you for that. I truly appreciate it.
It just you never know when the light's going to come on, and I'm just happy to be able to share my experience and being able to you make those introductions, man. So it's been a blessing to me, and I hope you've been blessed as well.
Thank you very much. I truly have.
Yeah.
Truly have. We just recently going past, as we finish 2017 and approaching 2018. But as far as 2017, it was got the opportunity to relive the 25th anniversary of Super Bowl XXVI.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I always want to ask you about that game because I've always heard players say when you get the opportunity to be called out by as far as the starting lineup for the Super Bowl, and you had Pat Summerall from East Carolina, running back number 21, Earnest Byner.
Yeah.
What was the feeling of having your name introduced across not only throughout the Metrodome, but throughout the entire world that know that you are the starting running back for Super Bowl XXVI?
Yeah. I really went into this game very meditative. The night before, I got into the jacuzzi, stretching, doing a lot of breathing, visualization of the actions of the plays that we were going to run, and being able to, hear my name and live it. Actually, run out on the field and basically salute the crowd was something that I really cherish. To be able to thank the fans, basically. I don't know if you remember, but I actually was pointing up at the crowd, and was really thanking the crowd and actually my family, for the long lasting love and that they had showered on me, and it was a blessing to be able to be in that game. and hear Pat Summerall, say my name, man, it brings a smile to my face now. But during that particular point, I was still, getting into game mode. So it was something that really helped me to narrow my focus.
Mm-hmm. Also within that game, when looking back and watching it, and to see how much of a complete game that you had, from making key runs, from one of the best lines, in NFL history with the Hogs, and of course scoring the first touchdown.
Yeah.
That has to be like an ultimate thrill. That your number was called, the ball was thrown to you, and you were able to score. And I definitely want to talk about that as far as just being able to this is your name being written in the history books of sports and of the NFL, of a world championship, and you get to score a touchdown.
Yeah, no question. Score a touchdown, but and also the Super Bowl picture, the poster that they put out was the classic counter trade with me in the focus. Donnie Warren blocking out, Mark Sareth kicking out, and Bruce Smith being blocked by Donnie Warren is on that picture. I mean, to really go through that process, man. It's and being able to be a focal point in the game, being able to play a complete game, and also support the other guys. One of the biggest plays, two of the biggest plays in that game, was me getting handed off the ball. We were in backed up mode, and they had got penetration, and they had handed me the ball, and the guy hit me in the end zone, and I was able to muscle, a nose tackle, muscle out of the end zone and keep it from being a safety. Mm-hmm. And the very next play, I was called upon to block Cornelius Bennett, and Cornelius Bennett showed me that mark under his chin.
Oh, you gave him a little love tap?
I gave him a little love tap that'll last a lifetime. And I actually got one under my chin from a guy in high school.
Okay.
But he showed me that last year at the Hall of Fame.
Oh, really?
Hall of Fame event. He said, "Hey, man, this is what you gave me in the Super Bowl." And so being able to be a contributor, to make a difference in a game, like the Super Bowl, I mean, it's something that, we talk about dreams. I never dreamt of playing the Super Bowl. I never dreamt of playing in the NFL. I just was I was blessed enough to be able to live it in such a way that I, appreciated almost every moment. Some moments where I didn't necessarily like the game, but that was because of other reasons. It was because of other things that were controlling that. But being able to be a contributor in the game that was watched by the world, how many people saw us out there and saw me being a part of that? Something that this ring, it's something that will never be taken away.
Absolutely. So, in talking about the Super Bowl and talking about that career game, definitely want to start from the beginning. The 280th pick in the NFL Draft, 1984.
Yeah.
The average span of an NFL running back is 2.5 to 4 years. You got to play 14.
Yeah.
What do you attribute that to?
I'm a freak. Very simply. That my body able to handle and heal quickly. My mind being able to deal with the ups and downs. Being able to use the different experiences. Playing through pain. I realized as when I retired, or when the Ravens retired me, because I wasn't ready to retire, but I knew my body was breaking down. But being able to look at that board and see how many guys were actually on that board, and understanding for 14 years I was different. I think it had more to do with my mindset than anything else. Being able to use pain, positives and negative experiences, to actually go out and make plays, to be able to focus that energy. It was something that was key to me lasting for 14 years.
And when in playing in the NFL, like you said, starting as a 10th round draft pick, and the odds of either being able to play, being able to start, or even having a career in the NFL, what was the moment in your career when you realized I can play this game?
I knew coming out. I don't know why. I think when I was in college, I actually started my freshman year, and I was looked upon because I was breaking into an all senior backfield. A.C. Collins, Theodore Roosevelt, and Harold Blue were the guys named that were starters. And I was able to break into that backfield, and a couple of those guys were able to go on and play in the pro. And I saw that, and that kind of let me know. It gave me a feeling that, maybe I got a chance to be able to go on to the league. So having that as a somewhat of a benchmark, having them as somewhat of a benchmark, really for some reason gave me the confidence that I could play in the National Football League.
And one thing within your days playing in Cleveland and seeing, like, for example, in the 1985 season, making big plays. I mean, you're eluding tackles against Lawrence Taylor and making game-winning touchdown runs against a top defense. And, that's – you look at many highlight tapes or resume tapes of Lawrence Taylor, you don't see too many runners breaking Lawrence Taylor's tackle. I mean,
Right.
You look at that breakout year in '85. Looking at that, when you see that season, see those games, look at those moments, think of those moments. You attribute to just, again, that heart and passion that you had to play this game and want to prove yourself, not only to proving yourself, but to prove coaches and players and competition that. Don't take me for granted.
Absolutely. And I think also it really was, sometimes I was doubted. I mean, and I used that as fuel, and they would say, sometimes it was, in the paper, we need somebody faster. And for some reason, commentators kept saying I couldn't make people miss. And I'm making people miss almost every game.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to, again, try to use whatever was out there for motivation, whatever was said, whether it was in-house or not, whether it was somebody doubting or not. But more than anything, it came from within me. I was motivated to try to be the best player that I could be every single day. Every single snap that I took, every single weight that I lifted, every single meeting that I was in was about trying to be the best I could be. And if I could do it, and then that's what kept me going, kept me developing. Even until my last game in my 14th year. I was still trying to get better. I was still watching the tape, studying myself to try to get better. So that's what drove me. Some of the doubters, somebody saying I'm not fast enough, somebody saying I can't make somebody miss, but more than anything, it was what was instilled within me from the Spirit, and even more so from my grandmother. I mean, that love, that just natural love for who you are. I mean, those things they really pushed me, and it really gave me some intent every day, and it drove me nuts every single day. But I'd rather be nuts that way than not caring or having a lot of talent and then letting it go to waste.
You mentioned a lot about your grandmother when you do your speeches and presentations to different teams and organizations. And 1990, Thanksgiving, play against Dallas. You score a touchdown. And usually, the camera's on you. You may say, "Hey, Mom." And that's it. But you, "Hi, Mom. Hi, Granny."
Are watching the game and getting ready for Thanksgiving dinner.
I love y'all. Joe Newton.
Rarely you hear a lot of players mention grandmother. So
Yeah.
how important was she to you, not only within your life, but, just the advancement of the man that you are today?
Critical because she gave me the foundation that my life is based on. Spirituality, taking us to church, gave me the love that I needed as a kid. I slept with Granny until I was probably about 8, 9 years old. My uncle had to get me out of her bed. When you gonna get out of Granny's bed, boy? What's wrong with you? When you gonna be a man? So being able to have that type of love, unconditional, in all aspects, was really critical for me, and I try to pass that on to my kids, but also my grandkids as well.
Grandkids.
Yeah, I got grandbabies. Nothing but girls, though. I got 4 daughters and 2 grandbabies that are daughters. So a lot of love, man.
A lot of love, no question. Going back to your Cleveland days, got the opportunity to celebrate with Kevin Mack with the first pair of running backs to rush over 1,000 yards. And still today, they're saying that other teams will be able to make this accomplishment, make this record, but it was a 30-year record. What do you look at the compliment that you were with Kevin Mack playing for Cleveland?
Oh, man. First of all, when he came, you could recognize the talent and could see, players know guys that they know talented guys, and I knew that K-Mac was talented, and we bonded right away. We got together, started hanging out with each other, supported each other. I challenged him. I said, "Hey, K-Mac," said, "Look here, we're gonna be the starters of this team. Let's go and let's do something special." Right away, we started and were able to accomplish something that has stood for a long time. Being the only running backs to both have 1,400 yards in one season, in the same season, was really, really special. Being the third tandem to actually rush for 1,000 yards in the same season, really special. That's something that can never be taken from us. To tell you the truth, I don't think it'll ever be a backfield again like Kevin and I. I don't think it was one before us, and I don't think it'll be one after us. To block for each other, to be lead blockers for each other, but to also be able to play the tailback position in very similar manner. I don't think it'll be anybody that'll touch that.
The 30th anniversary of the fumble, the 1987, but it's in January 17, 1988, the AFC Championship game, Cleveland Browns versus the Denver Broncos. I always look at that game about, it's without question, it's one of the classic games in NFL history.
Yeah.
And and if it has a name, there must have been something special about the game.
Yeah.
So when you think about those moments and you think about that game, the things that you were able to accomplish, as well as the Cleveland Browns to come back, because you were down 21-3 in the first half, to come back and to, not give up and play every play. What do you go through when whether headlines, people talk about it, people relive it? What goes through your mind when you think about that game?
I never really looked at the game until probably about 2 years ago, and I finally kind of watched the play. But to study the game, you can see the game within the game and the reasons why the game became what it became. Because there was a lot of great plays on both sides of the ball, defensively and offensively. A lot of great players that were out there, and a lot of us contributed to that game being a classic game. The epic part of it, the fumble, a lot of people mistake that we would have won the game. We would have went to the Super Bowl automatically if I would have scored the touchdown. Mm-hmm. That's what it's made out to be. That's what it's always been made out to be. But in reality, it would have tied the game if we'd made the field goal. And Matt Barr was going. I'm not the field goal, the extra point. But that was. But I mean, the game was. I mean, and I can tell you this: it wasn't many plays in that game that they stopped me from trying to accomplish or make it a positive play. Maybe 2 plays in that game where either I contributed, 3 plays where I contributed to them stopping me or them actually stopping me for no gain. It's rarely that it happened in that game. So the epic part of it, man, it's a build up from the year before that built up to that year, us being the rematch, and then us coming back and being able to get in a position where we could tie it up. Man, I mean, I can still feel that energy. I mean, I talk about the second play of the game where I was handing the ball and Dennis Smith and I ran into each other, and I fell forward, he fell off to the side. But not being there, I mean, those vibrations, the excitement about it, the build up to it, man, all of that made that game really special. And, to call it the fumble, I mean, is it fair? Yeah, it is. Because of how critical that play had become, that game had built up to that point. And that excitement, man, I mean, it drove a lot of people nuts. Mm-hmm. It drove me nuts for a while too. But yeah, man, it's I think if not the best game in NFL history, it's one of them.
And they call it one of the best games in NFL history. It's been documented as far as the game itself, how you played in that game. The thing that bothered me a little bit recently, I watched NFL Network many a times, and they put that play, the fumble, as the worst play of all time, and I think it's unfair because it's you're going to put that play, in a top 10 with the Matt Sanchez butt fumble. No, that was a play within a classic game that contest of wills, no question about it. Contest of execution, no question about it. So whether you want to call it a mistake or a great defensive play to a great offensive play, when people want to make fun or make light of what happened, do you look at it and say they don't know what they're talking about?
For the most part, people have a way of trying to categorize events, sometimes unfairly. And in that particular situation, saying that it's the worst play in NFL history or second worst, whatever, it is to a degree because of how much it hurt me and the other people and the fans. But it wasn't a bad play. It's not. It's. I don't agree with categorizing anything. I don't believe in the blame game. I don't believe in that. Because you can place the blame partly on someone, but totally to put it on someone, that's highly unfair to the game, first and foremost. Because the game is much bigger than one individual. There's so many other variables that makes the game come within. I call it the game within the game. There's so many things that lead up to different actions and reactions, and so to me, I draw short of categorizing or placing blame. I'll say that this is why this happened, but I would fall short. I would much rather be on the other side of the blame game.
And when you mention that, and like you said, throughout the years, when people ask you about it, people talk about it, I've never seen you say this happened because this person here. You never put blame on anyone amongst your responsibility of carrying the football.
Yeah, it's on me.
Yeah, and it shows a lot of character for any person, in any aspect of career or life where a mistake was made and you take responsibility for your actions and making sure that whatever you've done to learn from it and make sure that when the opportunity comes your way again, you make the most of that situation. Yeah. That's the case?
Oh, no question. Yeah. No question, because I feel like in any situation, personal ownership is critical. Personal ownership, to be able to live your experience, to be able to, because like I mentioned earlier, I've tried to learn every day of my career. Every day, every opportunity, I tried to learn. And when I didn't get it right, I'm the first one to say, "Hey, coach, that's on me." Even some of the coaches would say that, "Hey, Ernest, you need to do." I know. And sometimes it was, I know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I got it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I knew before anybody else knew. So having ownership, I think, for anyone in any aspect of their life, if you make a mistake, own the mistake, then go about trying to learn from it. And then you grow, and then you teach. You give something back to somebody. Hey, this is what I did. I lived through this. Try to do this way, if they'll listen. So I just feel like it's really critical to say, yeah, it was me. I did it. It's my responsibility. Now, what did you do? Because it's something that you've done, that you did, and I'm talking about some of the other players on the team. How did you contribute? Are you gonna blame me too? You gonna try to say you gonna try to take it off of you and put it on me? Okay, if that's right, if that's what you want, okay, it's on me. I'll take it. I'm man enough to take it. But in reality, you know too. You really know that you've done something to contribute to whatever your development is as well. Ownership is one of the key things, I think, in athletics. Personal ownership, I think, is really critical to the overall development and the emotional maturity of players.
And that's what makes, we talked about how the game of football is pretty much a total team sport where the responsibility and reliability of everyone on that field is just highly important, whether you have the ball or you don't, whether you are away from the ball, away from the line of scrimmage, or you're, ground zero of the game, of the play. That the responsibility, it's a total team. Basketball, you can have a star and he can score 50 points. But in football, you still need someone to help you get to that point. And when what you mentioned about things that you learned from that game, that it helped you along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, it helped me, but it also, it also helped me to help other people. I think going through that process really helped me to be even more empathetic to other people and their plight of learning, of their growth. Being a coach probably helped me be a better coach. I still feel like I would have been a good coach, but it helped me to be more understanding of what guys go through, how they feel when the mistake is made, what they need to come back from the mistake. So being able to having to have lived through it, I think was really critical for my development, because I don't know. I mean, because when I went into the game, I knew I was gonna play good. I mean, my confidence was sky high. Was my ego that high? I don't know. Maybe. But Ahmad Rashad said, have a good game. I looked at him and I said, I will. And I looked at him, I will. And I meant it. And I knew it. Now, the results when I fumbled the ball, that changed me. That changed me to a degree. And I think it really helped me to be more understanding of the plight of others that are trying to live a life that's a blessing, but struggling. So I understand that, and we're able to understand that and be able to pass on love and blessings.
I'll tell you a true story. 1988. All right, so going to the following season, Cleveland Browns playing the Washington Redskins. The Redskins need this game in order to stay alive for a playoff opportunity. I never told a lot of people this, but this is true. I had two favorite teams in the NFL. Of course, the Washington Redskins, and my other favorite team was the Cleveland Browns. So from yourself, Kelvin Mack, Big Daddy Harrison, Frank Minifield, Brian Brennan, Bernie Kosar, Webster Slaughter. I can name them all. Thanks to watching Inside the NFL on HBO as a kid, that's all I watched. So I had favorite teams, favorite players, and the Cleveland Browns was my favorite AFC team. So I was like, they're the AFC, the rest of the NFC. I can have an AFC team. Cleveland Browns AFC team. So going to that game, you score the game-winning touchdown. You break 2 tackles. You score. Pretty much seal the deal. Cleveland Browns going to win. Redskins out of the playoffs. Yeah. I go upstairs to see my father. Any Redskin fan, die hard. And on the lazy boy. I can't believe. That type of thing. I go to him and say, Dad, I guess the Cleveland Browns are better today. He gave me that look. That you better leave me alone. I went downstairs and I realized you only have one favorite team in the NFL, right. And it's been the Washington Redskins ever since. But right. Going to that game and then going to the end of that season, you get traded to the Washington Redskins. I always think that game, and they got to see an up close look of you and how you played, and knowing what they needed to make this thing a eventual championship team. You ever looked at that as that? I think that may have been my audition game right there.
No question. No question. I think the Denver game, AFC Championship game, and I believe that game, because of all the things that I was doing. Because I think I led the team in receptions that day. And like you said, I scored the game-winning touchdown. I actually ran the ball, blocked well. Blocked Wilbur Marshall. Wilbur Marshall came on a couple of blitzes. I missed it one time, because he set me up. And anyway, but 2 out of the 3, I got him. But he didn't get a sack, though, on the third one. But I think, I think they saw a lot of what I could do. And when the opportunity came, I believe they jumped on it because of, that what they saw.
Going to Washington, you mentioned that it was like a restart or almost like a rebirth to your career. Yeah. People rarely compare this, and I'm a fan, so I compare this. They talk about the 1989 Dallas Cowboys, that great train robbery trade to get all the players in the picks and to lead to the dynasty. The 1989 trade to get you, the trade Mike Oliphant to get you, it led to a championship. And what you did helped, and it got the ball rolling to get the running game where Washington wanted the running game to be. I mean, they came in before you arrived 25th in the run. Yeah. And you came in and became a 1,000-yard rusher, and continued the way that you play the game, blocking for Joe Riggs. I mean, was that really that restart that you needed for your career?
Oh, no question. was disheartened. The game was I had started actually pretty much rotting from the inside because I had kind of become disenchanted with the game, and it was I told my agent that if I have to stay in Cleveland, I'm probably gonna end up quitting the game. It had gotten that bad because of the couple of experiences, the fumble and then having the penalties. And this is one of the things that I always teach my guys is don't let your circumstances affect your love for what you do. Mine had, and the reason I could ask him that is because I lived it. And when I was traded, my love was rejuvenated because I did look at it like I was starting over, like I was a rookie. And I mean, I don't know if anybody could verify. I mean, but you can probably ask some guys that played with us. How did I come in? What was my work ethic like? How did I feel after 5 years in the league? Did I feel like I had it? I had it figured out. No, I came in and I was open to learning. I was open to watching. I watched Art Monk and how he prepared. I watched Donnie Warren. I watched Jeff Bostic. And those guys were key to my falling in love with the game again, but also with my abilities to enhance the leadership skills that I had as well.
Watching you play for the Redskins and having opportunities, was being young, going to Carlisle, Pennsylvania. See you practice. Yes. I'm going to take you back to Carlisle real quick. Yeah. Seeing you practice at Carlisle. And I remember one time, whether it was a running play or a pass play, either, whether it was a drop pass or whether it's, someone, poor execution, whatever the case may be. You took your helmet off, you spiked it down on the ground, and you picked it back up. And you got back in the huddle. And then they called the play again, and I think it was a pass play. And you called the play again. You called it, ran in for a touchdown. You spiked the ball, and I'm looking like, this is practice, right? Not a game, right? We're talking about practice. But that energy, like you mentioned, always talk about energy. You always look at practice the same way we're looking at the game, going to a game. And this is Carlisle. So this is summer training camp. It's not even a practice. So I mean, you know what I mean. I mean, of course, it's definitely for your job and for position for being a starter. But did you you look like you took every aspect of the game, whether preparation, execution. When it comes to playing football, you took 100%.
100%. Every snap, every meeting, if it was individual drill, I'm going 100 miles an hour. I just believed in, it wasn't a day off. I did staying fresh and trying to, practice at a level where I can make it to no. Even if I was injured, I'm practicing. It doesn't matter. I mean, I can remember one. I think I hurt my knee against Atlanta, and they said he's going to be out 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. He's going to be out. That Wednesday, matter of fact, that Monday morning, I was in on the stepper. I went in and got on the stepper, and just worked it out. That Wednesday, I practiced. I didn't practice a full practice, but I practiced. And to me, it was deadly serious. I can remember a guy, let's see, where were we? Were we in high school? And a guy stepped on my foot, and he said, "Excuse me." I said, "Don't you say excuse me out here. This is a game. We getting ready to play a football game. Don't you say." I jumped on him. for being polite. That's how serious I was about the game.
Each running backs have like a signature move or something that they were known or accustomed to. And when watching you play, it seemed like whenever you found an ability to do something and you saw something out of it, I call it the jump cut. Or is it where you come in, step back, and find another hole? And in one game that really shows that signature move was the playoff game against Miami. You make that jump cut, boom, 60-something yards down the field. Mm-hmm. What do you say when I see that move? That's me right there. Or I see me when I see that move by the running backs today. What would that be?
I call it the dad. That's what because that to me that is like if you hit like that, boop, if you hear that, that means somebody's getting ready to either make a move or somebody's getting ready to deliver a blow. And to me, that particular move is the move that that produces good football. Whether it's a cut, boop boop, whether it's a delivering a blow, boop boop, because you're always working from the ground. Whether it's an open field run, boop boop, or boop boop boop. I mean, for me, that's the classic move. That's the thing that I love to see. And when I say, if you hear me out, you'll hear me say, that's good run technique by that runner. There's a few guys in the league got it. And when you see it, you know it, and it's going to help people be better. It's going to help them play at a high level, but it's going to help other people around them play at a high level too.
One play that I see that showed the vision that you had as a running back, because they always talk about, it's not all just the power and the speed, but the vision. Whenever they gave you the ball in draw play, something special was about to happen when they gave you the ball. It wasn't just a 3rd and 10, all right, we're going to run a draw play to Byner. No, sometimes it will be a draw play in which you was going to do something with it.
Yeah. I love draw plays because of what it availed to me. First and foremost, to be able to understand what the offensive line is doing, understand their timing, and being able to help them on the initial level, but being able to be patient enough to help them on the second level is one of the things that's really critical to draw plays and screen plays. I look at those plays as very, very, very similar. So being able to set them up in a way that really it helps them, but it darn sure helped me to be able to make the plays as successful as possible.
Final question, because I can go all day. We can go all day. My final question: SB Nation in Tampa called you the greatest running backs coach. You see the list of runners that you have been able to coach or guide that has rushed over 1,000 yards. And now this season you had an opportunity to train a young Kareem Hunt from Toledo. Yeah. It was just finished 1,200 yards rushing and probably going to be the NFL Rookie of the Year. What do you attribute the coaching and the training that you have done after your career to help other running backs, whether big name, came off the bench to run for 1,000 yards, 2,000 yards as well, Chris Johnson. Yeah. All those things that you can attribute to your time coaching and developing these players.
Well, I think, first and foremost, again, the empathy because of the fumble, of understanding when they go through something difficult, what they need to overcome. But more than anything, the gift that I was given to understand the player, the man, not just the football player, but the man and what motivated them, and to understand how they learned. See, those three things right there enable me to get inside the man, to show him first and foremost that I care about you as a individual, not just a football player. I'm not just interested in you just for your football playing abilities. I'm interested in you in your life. And I want to help you be the best man that you can, because if the better man that people are, the better worker they will be. So to get inside of that, to get to operate on that level, on those 3 levels, is something that really helped me to help the guys be the absolute best that they could be, day in and day out, practice in, practice out, game in and game out.
Coach, where can they find you if they want to get in contact with you?
Hey, you can find me on my website, earnestbyner21.com. That's EARNESTBYNER 21.com. I have Original Dogs products. It's Original Dogs, theoriginaldogs.com. And my nonprofit is thehealingdogs.org. All of those kind of work together. The Healing Dogs, we spread love, teach love and emotional maturity, love from the inside. But so they can find me through that, through all of those venues, as well as on Twitter, at eByner on Twitter, and I try to respond to everybody that reaches out to me, comments or whatever, questions, whatever. They can find me on that. They can find me on Facebook. I'm on all the Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Mostly I do Twitter. So my website, through my nonprofit, thehealingdogs.org, and then theoriginaldogs.com is the main 3.
Coach, as always, appreciate the time.
It's a blessing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much for joining this podcast. I'm Cyprian Bowlding, and we'll see you next time.